Right, Basil, how you doing?
Not bad. How are yourself? You alright?
Good, man, good. At home in lockdown, nice and chilling.
Yeah.
So what have we got this week? We've got Rebecca on Netflix, is that right?
Indeed we have. Yeah, we've both
So,
seen it now.
just a bit of trivia about it. It is directed by one of our favorite directors, Ben Whitley. It's just been released, I think, about 2 or 3 weeks ago on Netflix. And it is a remake of Rebecca, which is from a 1940s Hitchcock film, which is a thriller.
Yeah, that
And
actually
at the
came to
ti-
news to me. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a remake.
I haven't seen that old one.
Neither
but
have I.
At the time, that old one won both the Best Picture film and the cinematography. So quite big shoes to fill in. But basically, the story is set in, I think it's somewhere in the 40s, 50s. It starts in Monte Carlo with this girl Rebecca, which is like a companion to a rich American lady that's on holiday in Monte Carlo, and then she randomly meets this widower, handsome English widower called Max, and they fall in love. It's really nice start. They fall in love. He literally sweeps her away, and they get married quite quickly. And then they move over to his estate in England, his massive estate, where she needs to start this new life, and she pretty much needs to accommodate to the new house rules, to the new
Surroundings, wasn't it?
surroundings, the people there, and the way he lives and things like that. So she meets the people in the house there, and then she's trying to sort of replace the widower's previous wife that has mysteriously died.
Rebecca herself.
So
yeah.
it's Rebecca herself. So it's got a couple of good actors in it. I think her name is Lily James, and his name is Arnie Hammer, the widower. And then we've got a slightly, almost like a villain type of character, is the head housekeeper, which is Kristen Scott Thomas, Mrs. Danvers.
Yeah.
Pretty good. It's about 2 hours long on Netflix, so it's free. Now, first question to you, sir. Why have we picked this one this week?
I believe we've decided to pick it because obviously with it being Ben Wheatley directing, we thought we'd be in for a treat, definitely. After watching his previous films and just trailers for upcoming films, he seems to know what he's doing when it comes to directing.
Agreed, yeah.
Did watch a trailer for this one before I started watching, and I was quite surprised to see the setting, kind of the atmosphere of the film. As I say, I didn't know this was a remake at all, so it kind of makes a bit more sense now. But when I looked at the trailer, I thought, why would he dive into a story like this? It kind of seems like a romantic love story, doesn't it?
It's a bit of a departure from his usual good thriller films. So
yeah,
he's
definitely.
made one of his earlier good ones, our Kill List, that I liked, and I think you liked that one too.
Yeah,
Free Fire is a bit more recent, I think about 4 or 5 years ago, but also full on with good actors.
Yeah, fantastic actors in that one.
So he's got a good repertoire
Got
of
good
different
CV,
genres.
isn't he, so far? Yeah, he's good CV so far, yeah. But for this one to be brought out, especially, like I say, on Netflix, obviously it's easily accessible. And we gave it a go, watched it with my girlfriend, Shalina. And 2 hours long. I'll be honest with you, I thought the runtime was going to be like 2 hours, 2.5 hours or something, because it
Really?
felt to me like a much longer film than that. And both me and Shalina at the end of the film, we were saying that last half an hour, although it seemed like very compact and rushed, actually.
Correct.
And I'll talk maybe a bit more in detail
Later.
about it later, yeah. But it seemed very rushed compared to the quite lethargic, like the first half an hour, the meeting, of Mr. De Winter in Monte Carlo, and that kind of like budding honeymoon relationship period that they had. That seemed to be
happy
a big
story.
Yeah, the happy story. That was a big chunk of the film. That wasn't rushed at all. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I mean, the reason why I picked it up was because of him, Ben Whitley, but also the actors are pretty much like the actors. But I liked the settings, and I liked the cinematography and the way the actors also really good. But we'll talk about that in a second. But what I really liked was it started, and I liked the setup, and the love story in the beginning, but also as soon as it moves to the England, it looks like something is going on here just from how the movie looks, which is what I like. So almost like the picture, the way it was filmed and was colored and lit, the cinematography tells the
contrast
story
of England to Monte
Yeah.
Carlo
But
sets the tone, doesn't it? Really.
The other thing that always is attractive to me is the actors. And besides the two main characters, you get this head housekeeper, which is Kristen Scott Thomas playing Mrs. Danvers, I think is
Mrs.
her name.
Danvers, yeah.
Oh my God, man. She's a good actress in general, but in this one, she plays like the sort of head housekeeper that's running the house. And without much dialogue, just with expressions and the way she walks, the way she looks at her and all the expressions
straight from the get-go,
is
she's
really
not
good.
welcome.
You get it as a villain from the get-go. You know, okay,
Yeah.
this is the hurdle she's gonna have to go through in order to accommodate in the house. So that was pretty good. I do think it was 30 minutes too long. I think after they moved to England, they drag it really long with trying to giving us clues about why the previous wife has died and things like that, all that mystery. But we keep getting clues without any sort of, give us an answer or try and give us some sort of, resolution to it. And in the last 30 minutes, they cram all of it in there. There's so much stuff happening in the last 30 minutes. You'd rather just see the first part in the last 30 minutes and you've seen the film. That's what I thought.
It's one of those strange examples of a film where I'd say it's about an hour and a half in, if it's a 2-hour runtime. It could have ended quite happily, and I think you might know what scene I'm talking about. It's where the two main characters, they meet at that kind of like lighthouse kind of escape at the beach. And it's like me and Shalina were both watching it and we're thinking, oh, this is kind of the end really, because it seems to come to some sort of closure, and then for it to go on for an extra half an hour of kind of rushed kind of storyline. It kind of tainted it a little bit towards the end, but I still enjoyed it. But yeah, you get that feeling with some films you watch it.
So here's a question: would you watch it again?
I don't really think it's got rewatchable value to it.
Okay, so I would put it this. I would put it this way, politically correct. If the whole of the Netflix library will be down and you'll have one film to watch available, and Rebecca will be that film, that's when I would do that.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, to be honest. I don't really think that's much praise. But yeah.
Right,
no,
so
I can't imagine. No, that's a good golden rule. Would you always watch it again? Could you take anything from it from a second viewing that you didn't take from the first viewing? And for me, the answer is no, because what I took from the film potentially. The main thing I took from it was, the scenery, the cinematography was pretty good, the 1950s feel to it, so the costume design and all that, that was all spot on, that was bang on, undisputable. But I can't find anything on a second viewing that I wouldn't have already seen in the first viewing, to be honest.
I think it was it is recommended as an easy viewing, so it doesn't take too much concentration. It's a Sunday night. Fairly peaceful, fairly engaging movie, and that's pretty much it. But I wouldn't go to the cinema if it was in cinemas. I wouldn't pay for a ticket to see it in cinemas.
You wouldn't go for it now, yeah.
No.
If you were to pay for a cinema ticket and then view it, and after coming out, would you feel like that was a valued ticket sale or
no?
Yeah,
that goes in that category for me.
yeah. Well, me too. But I feel like that's doing it a little bit of an injustice. It's not an awful film by any means, but if I were to pay for it and then come out, it's always a good
compass. It is always a good compass when answering that question. Would you put the effort in to shell out the money to see it?
Yeah,
you're risking that to come out and still, maybe you didn't like it or not. But that's a good compass to me usually. Right. So next part is the last question that I want to ask you. Spoilers ahead. So this is a question that the question is, what scene summed up best the film? And now this is going to spoiler it. So if anybody out there wants to watch it, please stop the clip right here, because in the next 20 seconds you're going to get the spoiler. So. Okay, so yes, go for it. Which scene do you think sums up the film best?
If I had to say, I mean, like the whole kind of essence of a film really is kind of like feeling lost somewhere where you're not meant to be, really. And I think obviously with like the absence of this Rebecca character, it's big shoes for our actress Lily to fill. So that was kind of the whole theme along the film. So I'd say there's a scene, I think it must be about an hour and 20 minutes in or something, and she goes into like Rebecca's old room in the big mansion in Medley, and Denver's catches her in there, and there's kind of this like exchange of conversation between the two about what Denver's used to do for Rebecca while she was alive and what have you, and just kind of putting down Lily for her imposition in the house. And for me, just that kind of segment of about, it must be about a 4-minute scene just kind of summed up what the whole film's about, really. It's obviously like Denver sees this Rebecca as a sort of daughter in a way, and thought the world of her, and this new woman in the building is just...
I agree, that's one of the best one of the best scenes in the film, is just because besides the fact that that room is kept so pristine, it's like spotless. It's a different color tone. It's like a white, so it represents purity and all that. So it's pristine. It just goes to show how hard how high the stakes are for her, for Rebecca, to try and fill those shoes altogether. It's just complete. And then the head housekeeper turns up and further increases that and shows, it's literally impossible that you replace the widower, the previous wife that she's been with him for 15 years or something. So that was pretty good. That was very good acting, very good setup. That's pretty much sums it up.
There was a lot of tension in that scene as well, and there's like a particular segment where Denver's goes on about, how she used to comb Rebecca's hair, and, Mr. De Winter used to do that as well, and then she like throws it back at Lily, and she's like, does he ever do that for you? And, in that moment, it's just like really hurtful to Lily's character, because it just really puts into perspective that obviously she isn't this woman. She's not got the greatness as this previous ex-wife, and it's just
makes sense. Good. So Netflix, it's on Netflix. It's called Rebecca. Good recommendation. Easy film. And
easy watching, as you say.
Easy watching. And that's about it. So we'll talk to you next time, Basil. And thanks a lot. See you later.
Nice one. See you later.
Bye-bye.